Understanding the core difference between abundance and scarcity mindsets when we talk about business success in the United States, especially in today's ultra-competitive and fast-paced entrepreneurial landscape. One of the most underestimated yet powerful factors is the mindset of entrepreneur. You can have capital, education, technology, and even a supportive network. But if your mindset is wired around fear, limitation, and competition, your growth will be capped before it even begins. Conversely, if your mindset is oriented around creativity, expansion, and collaboration, you unlock possibilities that others fail to see. At the heart of this lies two dramatically different perspectives: the scarcity mindset and the abundance mindset. These two lenses are like filters through which entrepreneurs view the business world, and the one you choose can literally shape the destiny of your business in the USA. The scarcity mindset is built on the belief that resources are limited, opportunities are rare, and success is a zero-sum game. Someone else's gain automatically feels like your loss. This kind of thinking makes entrepreneurs hyper, focused on protecting what little they believe they have, whether it's money, customers, or market share. Scarcity thinkers are often defensive, risk-averse, and resistant to change. They spend most of their time trying not to lose rather than planning how to win. Now compare this to the abundance mindset, which is built on the belief that opportunities are limitless. Creativity can always generate more value, and collaboration creates expansion. Someone else's success is not a threat, but rather proof that there's room for you too. People who think abundantly are proactive, opportunity-driven, and willing to experiment because they believe failure is just a stepping stone to success. To make this difference tangible for USA watchers, think about Silicon Valley startups. In a scarcity model, two tech companies in the same space would aggressively guard their innovations, copy each other, and fight for dominance. In an abundance model, these same companies might collaborate, share patents, or even merge resources to expand the entire market. For example, Apple and Nike partnered to integrate technology with fitness through the Apple Watch and Nike Run Club, creating value that neither could have achieved alone. Another example is Tesla opening up its patents to accelerate the electric vehicle industry. While a scarcity mindset would see this as giving away an advantage, an abundance mindset recognizes that a larger, healthier EV market benefits Tesla in the long run. These decisions aren't made from fear. They are made from faith in expansion. The difference also shows up in how entrepreneurs interpret economic challenges. Take the 2008 financial crisis. Scarcity-driven entrepreneurs panicked, cut investments, and played defense. Abundance-driven entrepreneurs saw the crisis as a reset button, a time to innovate, negotiate better deals, and prepare for the rebound. Many businesses that now dominate industries, like Airbnb and Uber, were born during that downturn because their founders refused to let scarcity thinking hold them back. They asked, what if we try something new that solves today's problems? Rather than, how do we protect what little we have left? In the USA, where economic cycles are inevitable, mindset is often the deciding factor between entrepreneurs who collapse during downturns and those who emerge stronger. Mindset doesn't just affect strategy, it deeply shapes company culture. Leaders with a scarcity mindset often micromanage, hoard information, and create environments of fear. Employees feel undervalued, creativity is suppressed, and turnover increases. In contrast, leaders with an abundance mindset empower teams, share credit, and encourage collaboration. Employees feel ownership of ideas, innovation thrives, and loyalty deepens. Look at companies like Google and Salesforce. Both are known for cultures that encourage experimentation and creative freedom. Their abundance-driven leadership has not only created innovative products, but also work environments that attract the best talent in the USA. It's also important to understand that scarcity and abundance are not just personal traits. They ripple outward into how industries function. A scarcity-driven industry is cutthroat, secretive, and resistant to innovation. An abundance-driven industry is collaborative, dynamic, and forward-looking. Think about the difference between the traditional taxi industry's scarcity-driven, protective, resistant to change, and the ride-sharing industry abundance-driven, technology-friendly, customer-focused. The former clung to old rules and collapsed under pressure. The latter expanded transportation options, created new jobs, and continues to innovate with autonomous vehicles. The difference came down to mindset, one trying to protect a shrinking pie, the other creating a bigger one. For American entrepreneurs, the core lesson is this: your mindset is the lens through which you interpret every situation. A scarcity lens narrows your vision. You see obstacles, threats, and limitations everywhere. An abundance lens expands your vision. You see opportunities, collaborations, and growth potential, even in challenges. For instance, if you're a small business owner in the USA and a big competitor moves into your town, scarcity thinking says, "I'm doomed. They'll take all my customers." Abundance thinking says, "This will raise awareness of my industry. How can I differentiate myself and attract even more loyal customers?" The facts haven't changed, but the mindset determines whether you shrink or expand. Another way to look at this is through money and investment. Scarcity thinkers view money as something to be hoarded because it could run out. They avoid risks, delay investments, and miss opportunities. Abundance thinkers see money as a tool that, when used wisely, creates more value. They invest in marketing, technology, and people because they believe those investments will multiply returns. In the USA, where access to capital is a major driver of business growth, this distinction is critical. Venture capitalists, for example, almost always back founders with abundance mindsets because they know those leaders will take bold actions, pivot when necessary, and pursue exponential growth rather than incremental survival. Finally, scarcity versus abundance is not just about business outcomes. It's about personal fulfillment. Entrepreneurs operating in scarcity often feel constant stress, anxiety, and burnout because they are always focused on what they might lose. Those operating in abundance feel more energized, creative, and fulfilled because they're focused on what they can build. The difference in quality of life is huge. And here's the kicker: abundance isn't about ignoring risks or pretending everything is easy. It's about choosing to believe that solutions exist, opportunities are everywhere, and growth is always possible. How scarcity mindset blocks business growth while the abundance mindset propels entrepreneurs toward growth and innovation. The scarcity mindset silently strangles potential. It's a form of psychological handoffs, unseen but extremely powerful, that keeps many American businesses from expanding or even surviving in competitive markets. To understand how dangerous this mindset can be, we need to look at how it impacts decision-making, strategy, company culture, and long-term resilience for you as entrepreneurs. Scarcity-driven thinking is particularly destructive because the American business environment rewards boldness, risk-taking, and innovation. Playing small, fearful, or defensive is rarely a winning strategy in the U.S. economy. The first major block caused by scarcity is fear-driven decision-making. Entrepreneurs with a scarcity mindset are often paralyzed by the question, "What if it doesn't work?" instead of focusing on opportunity. they obsess over potential loss. For example, many small business owners in the U.S. hesitate to invest in marketing campaigns, new technology, or hiring talented employees because they fear spending money. Ironically, by holding back, they actually limit their own growth. Imagine a restaurant owner who refuses to invest in digital delivery platforms like Uber Eats or DoorDash because they're worried about paying fees. Competitors who embrace those platforms expand their reach and increase revenue, while the scarcity-driven owner loses relevance. In this way, scarcity doesn't just create stagnation, it actively pushes businesses backward. The second block is the obsession with competition. Scarcity thinkers see the market as a fixed pie. If someone else takes a bigger slice, it must mean less for them. This leads to reactive strategies where businesses simply imitate competitors instead of creating unique value. Consider Blockbuster versus Netflix. Blockbuster had immense resources, a loyal customer base, and brand recognition. But its leadership was trapped in scarcity thinking. They viewed Netflix as a threat to their DVD rental empire, rather than recognizing the broader shift in consumer behavior. Instead of innovating, they protected their short-term profits and clung to outdated systems. Netflix, operating from abundance thinking, imagined new possibilities: streaming, personalization, and eventually, content creation. The result: Netflix dominates entertainment, while Blockbuster is remembered as a cautionary tale. Scarcity blinds companies to the future by chaining them to the past. Another destructive outcome of scarcity is short-term thinking. Scarcity-driven leaders often focus only on immediate survival instead of long-term vision. This is common in the U.S., where quarterly earnings pressure can push businesses to cut costs, delay investments, and prioritize instant results. But this short-termism weakens companies over time. A powerful example is Sears, once America's retail giant. Instead of investing in e-commerce, technology, and customer experience, Sears cut costs and closed stores in an attempt to survive each quarter. Meanwhile, Amazon, driven by long-term abundance thinking, operated without profit for years because Jeff Bezos was focused on dominating the future. Today, Sears is nearly extinct, while Amazon is worth over $1 trillion. Scarcity says, how do we survive this month? Abundance says, how do we build the next decade? That difference is fatal. Scarcity also poisons company culture. Leaders who think in scarcity tend to micromanage employees, hoard information, and create environments where fear dominates. Employees become hesitant to share ideas, afraid of making mistakes, and disconnected from the company's larger purpose. In the U.S., where innovation is the lifeblood of competitive advantage, this kind of culture destroys creativity. Contrast this with abundance-driven cultures like Google's, where employees are given freedom to experiment, the famous 20% rule, where staff could use part of their time on passion projects. That freedom has produced products like Gmail and Google Maps. A scarcity culture would have crushed those ideas at birth with lines like, "We don't have time for that," or "What if it fails?" Abundance cultures ask, "What if it succeeds?" Scarcity cultures never even ask the question. The scarcity mindset also creates a self-fulfilling prophecy. Because scarcity-driven entrepreneurs fear running out of resources, they avoid investments, which leads to stagnation. Stagnation then causes them to lose customers, revenue, and market share, confirming their original fear. For example, small retailers in the U.S. who resisted adopting e-commerce platforms often said, "We can't afford to build a website." Years later, when foot traffic declined, they claimed, "See, the market has dried up." In reality, their scarcity mindset caused them to miss the online shopping boom that fueled massive growth for others. This cycle is particularly dangerous because it feels rational. To the scarcity thinker, playing small seems like being careful, but in truth, it is the riskiest approach of all because it guarantees irrelevance. Scarcity also damages customer relationships. When businesses think resources are limited, they treat customers transactionally rather than relationally. They nickel and dime, overpromise and underdeliver, and create experiences that feel extractive rather than generous. Customers in the U.S., however, value brands that go above and beyond. Think about the difference between airlines. Some operate from scarcity, charging extra for every bag, every snack, every seat selection. Others, like Southwest Airlines, built loyalty by offering free checked bags and creating a culture of humor and friendliness. The scarcity airlines constantly battle customer frustration, while Southwest created a loyal fan base despite industry challenges. Scarcity focuses on squeezing, abundance focuses on serving. The psychological toll of scarcity also cannot be ignored. Entrepreneurs trapped in scarcity often live in constant stress. They're always worried about losing money, customers, or relevance. This leads to burnout, poor decision making, and reactive strategies. In contrast, abundance-oriented entrepreneurs maintain energy and creativity even in tough times because they believe opportunities exist. In the American entrepreneurial ecosystem, where resilience is a defining factor, scarcity thinkers burn out quickly, while abundance thinkers adapt and endure. Even more critically, scarcity prevents adaptability. The U.S. economy is dynamic, shaped by technology, globalization, and shifting consumer behavior. Businesses that cling to old models out of fear quickly become obsolete. Kodak is one of the most famous examples. They literally invented the digital camera, but suppressed it because they feared it would cannibalize their film business. Their scarcity mindset told them, "We have to protect our profits." In doing so, they missed the digital revolution they themselves had sparked. Abundance would have said, "We can lead the future of digital photography." Instead, Kodak collapsed while new players thrived. Finally, scarcity weakens leadership credibility. Teams look to leaders for vision, confidence, and direction. When a leader operates from scarcity, their fear spreads to employees, investors, and customers. Investors hesitate to back a founder who appears timid. Customers hesitate to buy from a brand that doesn't project confidence. Employees hesitate to follow leaders who don't believe in growth. On the flip side, abundance. Driven leaders inspire trust because they communicate possibility. This is why U.S. venture capitalists often say they invest more in the founder than in the idea. The founder's mindset is the true predictor of success. In summary, scarcity is more than just a mindset. It's a business model of limitation, and it fails every time. It blocks growth by fueling fear. Driven decisions, short-term thinking, cultural stagnation, and reactive strategies. It blinds companies to opportunities, poisons customer relationships, and burns out leaders. The U.S. market is full of examples. Blockbuster, Sears, Kodak, and countless small businesses that demonstrate how scarcity kills. The most dangerous part, scarcity feels safe in the moment, but it is the riskiest path of all because it guarantees mediocrity or failure. For American business watchers, the warning is clear. If you catch yourself making decisions out of fear, focusing only on competitors, or hoarding resources, you are letting scarcity drive your business. And scarcity never leads to success, it only leads to survival. And in a market as competitive as the United States, survival is not enough. Why abundance mind that fuels business innovation and success? The abundance minds It is not about blind optimism, reckless risk taking, or pretending that challenges do not exist. Instead, it is a deeply practical way of thinking that recognizes the potential for growth, innovation, and opportunity in almost every situation. Entrepreneurs and business leaders in the United States who embrace abundance thinking consistently outperform their scarcity-driven competitors because they see what others overlook: possibilities. Abundance doesn't mean ignoring obstacles. It means approaching them with the belief that solutions can be found, that growth is possible, and that success multiplies when shared. Let's start with one of the clearest examples of abundance thinking in American business: Amazon. When Jeff Bezos founded Amazon in 1994, he could have stayed focused on the small niche of selling books online. A scarcity-driven leader would have said, "Let's protect our core business. Books are enough." But Bezos operated from abundance. He asked, what if we could sell everything online? That mindset expanded Amazon into a global marketplace. Later, he took another leap. What if we build infrastructure so strong that we can rent it out to other companies? That idea birthed Amazon Web Services (AWS), which now powers companies ranging from Netflix to Airbnb to NASA. Bezos's abundance mindset transformed Amazon from an online bookstore into one of the most valuable companies in the world. If he had thought in scarcity, protecting the book business instead of expanding, Amazon would have remained small and likely irrelevant. Abundance fuels innovation because it encourages leaders to ask, what if, rather than what if I fail? That single shift changes everything. When leaders operate from abundance, failure is not a death sentence. It is a stepping stone. In Silicon Valley, a failure is often seen as a badge of honor because it means you took risks, experimented, and learned. Scarcity-driven entrepreneurs avoid risks because they fear loss. Abundance-driven entrepreneurs embrace risks because they know every attempt creates new knowledge. Think about Elon Musk and Tesla. A scarcity-driven auto manufacturer would protect their patents to maintain an advantage. Musk, however, opened Tesla's patents to competitors. Why? Because he believed that accelerating the electric vehicle (EV) market benefits everyone, including Tesla. His abundance mindset saw the EV industry not as a fixed pie to hoard, but as an expanding field to grow. That decision sped up innovation across the auto industry and positioned Tesla as a leader, not just a competitor. Abundance also drives resilience. The U.S. business landscape is unpredictable. Recessions, technological disruption, and consumer shifts can destroy companies overnight. Entrepreneurs with scarcity thinking crumble under pressure because they view challenges as threats. Entrepreneurs with abundance thinking thrive because they view challenges as opportunities. Consider Airbnb during the 2008 financial crisis. When founders Brian Chesky and Joe Gebbia couldn't afford rent, they didn't retreat in fear. Instead, they saw an opportunity. People needed cheaper alternatives to hotels, and homeowners needed extra income. From this abundance-driven solution came one of the most disruptive hospitality companies in the world. Scarcity would have said, "We can't afford this city anymore." Abundance said, "What if others feel the same and we solve it together?" That mindset shift birthed a multi-billion-dollar industry. One of the most powerful effects of abundance is its ability to transform collaboration and partnerships. Scarcity-driven businesses view competitors and even colleagues as threats. Abundance-driven businesses see them as collaborators. This is why abundance-minded leaders often create ecosystems that expand value. Look at Apple's App Store. Apple could have controlled everything by only offering its own apps. But instead, It invited developers worldwide to build applications for iPhone users. The result? An entire economy of millions of apps, billions of downloads, and countless businesses thriving because Apple believed in shared success. The abundance mindset here didn't just make Apple successful. It lifted an entire generation of app developers in the United States and beyond. Scarcity would have kept the ecosystem small. Abundance made it limitless. Abundance also changes how businesses view employees and talent. In a scarcity model, leaders fear losing control, so they micromanage, withhold information, and see employees as costs. In abundance, leaders see employees as partners in innovation, investing in their growth and creativity. This is why companies like Google and Salesforce are magnets for talent. Google famously allowed employees to spend 20% of their time on personal projects, which led to major innovations like Gmail and Google Maps. A scarcity-driven company would have dismissed such projects as distractions. Abundance turned them into billion-dollar products. Salesforce invests heavily in employee development and workplace culture, creating loyalty and innovation in return. In U.S. business culture, where talent is a key differentiator, abundance thinking transforms workforces into engines of creativity rather than groups of fearful workers. Another reason abundance fuels success is its ability to shift focus from competition to creation. Scarcity-driven companies obsess over competitors, always reacting to what others do. Abundance-driven companies focus on customers, innovation, and vision. Think about Netflix again. While Blockbuster obsessed over protecting late fees and DVD rentals, Netflix focused on the customer experience, eliminating late fees, offering personalization, and eventually creating original content. That abundance-driven focus on value creation rather than competition turned Netflix into a global leader in entertainment. Scarcity looks sideways at rivals. Abundance looks forward to possibilities. In the U.S., abundance also drives customer loyalty. American consumers reward businesses that go above and beyond, offering more value than expected. Scarcity-driven companies nickel and dime their customers, charge hidden fees, and offer the bare minimum. Abundance-driven companies add extra surprise and delight. For instance, Costco could have followed the scarcity model of maximizing profit per item. Instead, it chose to sell products in bulk at thin margins, focusing on long-term loyalty rather than short-term gain. The abundance mindset created one of the most loyal customer bases in the U.S., where people pay yearly membership fees happily because they know the value they receive far exceeds the cost. Scarcity squeezes customers, abundance serves them generously. The abundance mindset is also critical in leadership communication. Leaders who speak from abundance inspire trust. They talk about vision, opportunity, and collaboration, which attracts investors, customers, and employees. Scarcity-driven leaders communicate fear, constantly emphasizing cuts, threats, and limitations. In the U.S. startup scene, venture capitalists often say they invest more in the founder than in the idea. Why? Because a founder with abundance will pivot, adapt, and innovate, while a founder with scarcity will freeze at the first obstacle. The abundance mindset is literally a magnet for resources because people trust leaders who believe in possibility. Moreover, abundance drives long-term sustainability. Businesses that think abundantly make investments in innovation, sustainability, and relationships because they are building for the future. For example, Patagonia, the outdoor clothing company, invests heavily in environmental sustainability, often encouraging customers to repair clothing instead of buying new items. From a scarcity perspective, this makes no sense. It reduces immediate sales. But from an abundance perspective, it builds a loyal customer base, enhances brand reputation, and aligns with long-term global trends. The result? Patagonia thrives financially while also shaping its industry. In the U.S., where consumer values increasingly prioritize ethics and sustainability, abundance is not just good, it's essential. Finally, abundance enhances personal fulfillment for entrepreneurs. Running a business in the U.S. is tough, filled with uncertainty, competition, and long hours. Scarcity-driven leaders often burn out because they live in constant fear of loss. Abundance-driven leaders, however, find energy and satisfaction in the process because they focus on possibilities, growth, and shared success. Their mindset doesn't just build stronger businesses, it builds better lives. This personal resilience radiates outward, inspiring teams and building stronger companies. In summary, the abundance mindset fuels business innovation and success in the United States because it creates expansion rather than contraction. It encourages risk-taking, fosters collaboration, drives resilience, and attracts loyalty. It builds stronger teams, inspires trust, and focuses on long-term creation rather than short-term protection. From Amazon to Tesla, Airbnb to Google, the companies that dominate the U.S. economy are those that embrace abundance. Scarcity keeps you stuck in survival mode. Abundance propels you into growth mode. For American entrepreneurs and business watchers, the lesson is undeniable. In a competitive, fast-moving market, abundance is not just an advantage. It is the difference between irrelevance and industry leadership.
Please my video, like, subscribe and blank button for see more important videos.